What's up, everyone? My name's Chris Hayzel, and today we're going to take a look at one of the newest additions to Luna Pro 2.0, ChordAXE Lite. ChordAXE provides a unique way to explore new and interesting chord progressions, and combined with UAD virtual instruments and Luna extensions, it's a great way to find inspiration and get your creative ideas flowing. So in this video, we'll take a look at how this MIDI effect plugin works, and then we'll build up a quick track in Luna to kind of get a feel for how this might fit into your workflow. Grab your chips or pop your popcorn and join me as we take a dive into ChordAXE Lite. So if you're anything like me and keyboard isn't your first instrument, then you might be familiar with the struggle. There's this gap between what you hear in your head and what you're physically able to play into your DAW. And that is the exact problem that ChordAXE was built to solve. ChordAXE takes the technical challenge of finding the right chords and turns it into something more creative and immediate. The whole plugin is built around harmony and chord structure, and it gives you a fresh perspective on classic chord progressions, as well as a way to shape them into something that feels brand new. For myself, I like to use it as an idea starter, a way to kind of discover new musical directions that I wouldn't normally have considered. Just browse their library of presets until you find one that resonates, and then once you've found your starting point, ChordAXE will actually map entire chords onto individual keys on your keyboard, putting complex and beautiful voicings literally at your fingertips. So if all of that sounds appealing to you, then let's open up Luna and dive in. Alright, so to open ChordAXE, let's start by creating a new instrument track. Choose an instrument you like. I quite like this Ravel piano. We'll call it piano. And once the track's created, all you have to do is come up here to MIDI effects and click ChordAXE Lite. And boom. It's as simple as that. You can literally start playing right now. Now, ChordAXE has two primary views, the MIDI view and the mesh view. Think of the MIDI view as your command center. It's going to be home to most of the functionality that you're going to want to use. Down here, you'll find all of the chords included in your chosen preset, and each one is assigned to an individual key on your keyboard, so you can play entire chord voicings with a single press. And if you don't have a keyboard, you can just use your mouse to click the on-screen keys. This hold button here enables a seamless legato from note to note. ChordAXE comes preloaded with a ton of presets that allow you to explore classic chord progressions. Just choose a tonality as a starting point and start browsing. You can play in major keys, minor keys, complex minor, and complex major. Just find a preset that you like and play with the timing and the velocity that feels right to you. Now, the area on your keyboard where the chords are located is called the MIDI zone, and all of the notes within that zone will trigger chords within the plugin. But everything outside of that zone is just a normal chromatic keyboard, like any other keyboard. And one really useful feature is that you can actually move that MIDI zone up and down on your keyboard by using this MIDI zone feature right here. So let's say you wanted to trigger chords with your left hand, but you wanted to keep your right hand free to play some freeform notes on top. Just come up here and move the MIDI zone down. And the inverse is also true. So let's say you wanted to trigger the chords with your right hand and play some bassy freeform notes with your left. Just come up here and move the MIDI zone up. We'll go a couple of octaves for comfort. Pretty cool. All right, so now that we have a basic grasp of the MIDI view, let's take a look at the mesh view. Now, the mesh view offers a new visual approach to understanding how chords relate to one another and why some combinations just click. Built on the circle of fifths, the mesh is centered on the tonic of your chosen key, and from there, the chords fan out in their natural harmonic order. This illuminated pathway shows you which chords are active in your current preset. And as you scroll through different options, you'll notice that the pathway shifts. These pathways, or traces, as they're called in the app, offer insight into the harmonic DNA of some of the most memorable songs in history. And in the full version of ChordAXE, you can actually create your own traces, adding your original harmonic ideas to the mix. Now, if you've ever worked with samples or chord packs, you might know that transposing can often mean compromising your sound. But one of ChordAXE's standout capabilities is actually intelligent transposition. What does that mean? It means that you can actually shift any chord progression to a different key without pitch shifting, and it just takes one click. So to demonstrate this, let's make a little loop. So right now we're in the key of F, but what happens if we want to switch to D? Notice how all the chords changed, but the piano stayed in the same register. Let's try B. Different chords, different voicings, but everything still sounds perfect. You can also change the pitch register without changing the tonic or shifting the octave, with this voicing feature right here. And those are just the basics. There are so many more features to explore in ChordAXE, like patterns, the root float function, and more. But for now, let's just make something so you can see it in action. So to set the stage, I'm running the API console and Studer tape on every track because it really is kind of, the chef's kiss of the entire Luna setup. And to move quickly, we're working primarily on presets because, trust me, you don't want to sit here and watch me tweak a compressor. So with that in mind, let's find the preset in ChordAXE that we like. I'm a sucker for complex minor. That's cool. Ooh. Ooh, yeah, I like that one. All right, let's find a rhythm that we like here. See, something like dun da dun dun da dun da dun da. I think that's 5/4. So let's change the time signature. Let's find a piano preset that we really like. Ooh, reverse room. That's cool. That's really cool. And let's set the API Vision console to rock and roll piano. Perfect. And I also just want it a little bit spacier. So why don't we send this to a bus? We'll call it piano reverb. And on here, we will put Galaxy Tape Echo. I like this quarter note degen regen preset. And let's turn the feedback down a little bit. See what we got. Perfect. And then a little bit of reverb on that bus. Let's just see. Turn the wet solo on. Turn the mix up a little bit. There we go. That's spacey. Perfect. All right, let's record something. I kind of want just a little bit more ambience, so let's add another instrument track and check out this Opal Morphing synth. All right, so I'm thinking maybe a little bit more movement might help kind of liven this intro up. So why don't we find some kind of sequencer? Let's try the Anthem synth. Cool. That is a good starting point. All right, so I'm kind of old school and I like to build from the bottom up. So let's start with some drums. I'm going to pull in my trusty BFD3 here. BFD3 is a third-party plugin, but it works great with my electronic kit, and it also gives me an opportunity to show you how Luna handles multi-output, because I think it's pretty darn cool. It all takes place right in the plugin window, and as you add outputs, Luna automatically makes the corresponding tracks in the session. And then you just assign each drum to the appropriate output. It's super quick and super simple. Okay, so let's shape the kick and the snare starting at the console. Let's add an 1176 to the kick, and a Fairchild 670 for a touch of warmth. Put an 1176 on the snare and on the overheads. And now let's sum all of those to a drum bus with API summing. And then send that to another bus for just a little bit of reverb. All right, let's record some drums. Okay, it is time for some bass. Let's use the SVT Classic in Unison because it sounds amazing. Find a good bass preset on the console and throw on a Fairchild 660. Time for some guitars. This Ruby amp sim from UAD has that classic AC30 sound. Yeah, that's the one. I also want this guitar part to be kind of spacey, kind of like the piano. So let's put a pure plate reverb directly on the track, and then we'll send that to a bus with a Galaxy tape echo on it. Awesome. Now, it's time to tie it all together. I hope you enjoyed this sneak peek into ChordAXE. Don't forget to check it out in Luna Pro and jumpstart your next musical idea.